Please don't assume that drinking less water in the evening will automatically help you sleep better. Surprisingly, many older adults discover that restricting fluids too much may not always produce the results they expect. In some cases, it may even leave them waking up more often during the night. Many older adults find themselves getting up 2, 3, or even 4 times during the night. Some have gone through heart tests, bladder tests, or kidney evaluations, only to hear that everything looks normal, yet still find it difficult to enjoy a full night's sleep. Many older adults find themselves in a similar situation. Many older adults have expressed frustration because they could not understand why they kept waking up throughout the night, despite having no obvious medical concerns. And that is exactly what this video will explore. Many people assume that drinking less water before bed is always the answer. But the relationship between hydration and nighttime urination is often more complicated than that. This video explores several factors that may help explain why frequent nighttime awakenings occur, even when medical tests appear normal. Topics include why limiting water too aggressively may sometimes have the opposite effect, why reducing salt too much may not always be beneficial for everyone, and how low-grade inflammation may influence both sleep quality and bladder function. There is also a lesser-known connection between the nervous system and urinary symptoms worth exploring. The video also looks at the role that lemons and certain dietary habits may play as part of a healthy lifestyle. The video also covers several simple strategies that many older adults have found practical and easy to incorporate into everyday life. A few educational examples are also included, highlighting how small changes and consistent habits may gradually improve comfort and quality of life. One of these simple ideas requires no special equipment and costs virtually nothing. In fact, most people already have everything they need right at home. For those who would like to sleep more comfortably, wake up feeling more refreshed, and continue enjoying meaningful moments with family, the rest of this video may be worth watching. Chapter 1. The hidden reason you wake up frequently at night, even when your tests are normal. Let's begin with the first topic. Why do so many people continue waking up throughout the night, even though every medical test seems to come back normal? Many older adults find this pattern familiar. Some older adults go to the bathroom right before bed, only to wake up an hour or 2 later feeling the need to go again. When they finally get up, there isn't much urine yet they were awakened anyway. Others find they can comfortably go several hours during the day without thinking about it. But nighttime seems to be a completely different story. Many older adults experiencing these patterns visit multiple specialists. They may undergo heart evaluations, bladder examinations, kidney function tests, and sometimes prostate testing as well. And very often, the results are reassuring. Everything appears normal. Many are simply told that these changes are part of aging. Yet despite hearing that nothing is wrong, they continue struggling night after night. So what is really going on? In many cases, the answer may involve factors that are not always obvious on routine tests. Hydration status, mineral balance, and the way the nervous system responds to signals from the bladder may all play a role. In addition, subtle changes in circulation and low-grade inflammation may influence how sensitive these signals become over time. These are factors that do not always show up clearly on standard laboratory tests or imaging studies. One helpful way to understand this is to think of the body as a complex plumbing system. When water flows steadily through pipes, everything tends to function smoothly. But when the flow becomes limited, problems may gradually develop. Circulation works in a similar way. Adequate hydration helps maintain normal blood flow throughout the body. And because the bladder and surrounding tissues rely on a healthy supply of oxygen and nutrients, changes in circulation may affect how signals are transmitted between the bladder and the brain. Over time, the nervous system may become more sensitive, almost like an overly sensitive smoke detector that responds to even very small changes. As a result, some people may feel the urge to urinate. Chapter 2. Why holding back water can backfire. Understanding hydration and blood concentration. This brings us to the second topic. Why is it that drinking less water sometimes seems to have the opposite effect? Many people believe that if they avoid drinking in the evening, They will naturally produce less urine and sleep more comfortably. At first glance, that idea seems perfectly logical. If less goes in, less should come out. But the human body is far more sophisticated than a simple container. It is constantly working to maintain balance. The body has an intricate system that regulates fluid levels and keeps the concentration of blood within a healthy range. This balance is essential for survival. When the body does not receive enough water, the blood becomes more concentrated. In response, the body activates several mechanisms to maintain stability and preserve normal circulation. As a result, the relationship between fluid intake and nighttime urination is not always as straightforward as many people expect. Think of it this way. When syrup becomes too concentrated, it flows less easily. The body is designed to prevent similar imbalances by constantly adjusting fluid levels. This is one reason why simply restricting fluids may not always lead to fewer nighttime trips to the bathroom. And for many older adults, the effect can become even more noticeable at night while lying down, because body fluids are redistributed differently during rest. Many older adults have gone to bed feeling thirsty but decided to ignore it. Some have deliberately avoided drinking water after dinner out of concern about waking up during the night. Others have long believed that drinking anything before bedtime should be avoided altogether. Many older adults share these concerns. One educational example involves a woman in her 70s who had been waking up 4 times every night. She became convinced that something was seriously wrong with her kidneys. However, after undergoing examinations, her kidney structure and function appeared completely normal. When her daily habits were discussed more closely, one thing stood out immediately. She was drinking very little water throughout the day, sometimes fewer than 3 glasses. She explained, "I avoid drinking water because I don't want to spend all night going to the bathroom. It feels like every time I drink something, I have to urinate." But that concern had unintentionally created a cycle that was working against her. Because she was limiting fluids so much, her body was struggling to maintain normal hydration. She was encouraged to gradually increase her daily water intake, rather than making dramatic changes all at once. At first, she was skeptical. She asked, "Are you sure this will help? Won't drinking more water make things worse?" 2 weeks later, she returned with a completely different expression on her face. She smiled and said, "I still can't believe it. I'm drinking more water, but I'm actually waking up less during the night." Over time, her nighttime awakenings became less frequent, and she noticed that she had more energy during the day and felt better when spending time with her grandchildren. Stories like this remind us that the body does not always follow simple arithmetic. Sometimes, maintaining healthy hydration may actually help the body achieve better balance and support more restful sleep. As this section has covered, avoiding water is not always the answer. In some cases, excessive fluid restriction may unintentionally contribute to the very problem people are trying to avoid. But does that mean drinking more water is the only solution? Not necessarily, because there is another important piece of the puzzle that many people overlook. And that brings us to the next topic: salt. Chapter 3: Why eating too little salt may make swelling and nighttime urination worse. This brings us to the third topic. Many people try to reduce salt for the sake of their health. After all, it is widely understood that too much sodium may contribute to high blood pressure and other health concerns, and that's certainly true. Excessive salt intake is not beneficial. But what many people don't realize is that consuming too little sodium may also create problems for some individuals. The body requires a proper balance. Sodium plays an important role in maintaining fluid balance and helping the body regulate where water is stored. One helpful way to understand this is to think of blood vessels as a reservoir that holds and distributes water throughout the body. In order for that system to function properly, The body needs the right balance of both water and electrolytes. When sodium levels become too low, fluid distribution may change. As a result, some water may shift from the bloodstream into surrounding tissues. This is one reason why some people notice swelling in their legs, ankles, or face later in the day. Many older adults notice that their shoes feel tighter in the evening, or that sock marks on their ankles seem much deeper by bedtime. When lying down at night, gravity no longer pulls fluid toward the lower legs. Much of that fluid gradually returns to the bloodstream. The kidneys then begin processing the extra fluid, which may contribute to more trips to the bathroom during the night. Some older adults notice that their legs swell during the day, and then find themselves waking up more frequently during the night. If those two things occur together, fluid balance may be playing a role. And in some cases, consuming an extremely low sodium diet may be one of several contributing factors. One educational example involves a gentleman in his 60s, who woke up at almost exactly the same time every night, usually between 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. He had been following a very strict low-sodium diet for more than 10 years. Because he wanted to protect himself from high blood pressure, he avoided adding salt to his meals, and even his side dishes were prepared with very little seasoning. His dedication to healthy living was admirable. When his laboratory results were reviewed, everything looked generally reassuring, although his sodium level was near the lower end of the normal range. After his overall eating habits were discussed, he was encouraged to focus on maintaining a balanced intake, rather than trying to eliminate sodium as much as possible. The goal was not to increase salt excessively, but simply to avoid unnecessary restriction, and follow a more moderate and balanced approach. Several weeks later, he returned with a smile on his face. He shared, "I slept through the night for the first time in years." Not only did he feel more rested, but his wife also mentioned that both of them were sleeping better. Stories like these remind us that good health is often about balance rather than extremes. As this section has covered, reducing sodium too aggressively may not always be the best approach for everyone. While excessive salt intake should certainly be avoided, the body still requires an appropriate amount to maintain healthy fluid balance. And when that balance is disrupted, swelling during the day and frequent nighttime urination may sometimes become more noticeable. With hydration and sodium balance in mind, the next topic explores another important piece of the puzzle: chronic low-grade inflammation. Because sometimes the causes of poor sleep and nighttime urination may be quieter and less obvious than many people expect. Chapter 4: How silent chronic inflammation can disrupt sleep. This brings us to the fourth topic. Earlier, this discussion briefly touched on the role of inflammation. This section takes a closer look at something called chronic low-grade inflammation. When most people hear the word inflammation, they think about pain, swelling, or fever. For example, when someone catches a cold, the throat becomes sore and inflamed. Those are signs of acute inflammation, and they are usually easy to recognize. But there is another form of inflammation that is much quieter. It is often called low-grade chronic inflammation. Unlike acute inflammation, this type doesn't usually cause obvious symptoms. There may be no pain, no swelling, and no fever. Instead, it can remain in the background for years, gradually influencing different systems throughout the body. Researchers have become increasingly interested in how this kind of inflammation may affect blood vessels, circulation, and overall health as we age. One helpful way to understand this is to think of blood vessels like flexible garden hoses. When they are healthy and resilient, blood flows smoothly and efficiently. But over time, various factors including chronic inflammation may affect the health and flexibility of those vessels. As circulation becomes less efficient, the tissues and nerves surrounding the bladder may become more sensitive to signals. And when those signals become more sensitive, some people may experience the urge to urinate more frequently, especially during the night. Some older adults also notice other subtle changes over time, feeling tired more easily, finding that their hands and feet tend to feel colder than before, or noticing that their body feels stiff in the morning, and that minor cuts and bruises seem to take longer to heal. These changes can have many possible causes, but they remind us that overall, Health is often influenced by processes that develop quietly over time. One educational example involves a woman in her 50s who constantly felt exhausted. Even after a full night's sleep, she never felt truly refreshed. She was waking up 3 times each night, and often struggled to fall back asleep. Like many people, she was juggling work, responsibilities and dealing with ongoing stress. Her meals were irregular, and she found it difficult to exercise consistently. The poor sleep left her tired during the day, and the fatigue made it even harder to maintain healthy routines. When her health profile was reviewed, her inflammatory markers were still within the normal range, but they were toward the higher end. There was no serious concern requiring immediate medical attention, but there was certainly room to improve her overall lifestyle. The focus shifted to simple, sustainable habits. Eating more colorful vegetables, including leafy greens, and enjoying foods such as ginger and lemon. As part of a balanced diet, along with stress management and gradual improvements to sleep routines. Several weeks later, she returned with a smile. She shared, "I wake up feeling much clearer now. I don't dread getting out of bed anymore. Some nights I only wake up once, and occasionally I sleep through the night." More importantly, she said she felt like herself again. Stories like these remind us that healthy aging is rarely about finding one miracle solution. Instead, it often comes down to small changes practiced consistently over time. As this section has covered, chronic low-grade inflammation may quietly influence circulation, nerve sensitivity, and overall sleep quality. And while these changes may not always be felt directly, taking care of overall health through balanced nutrition, physical activity, stress management, and healthy routines may make a meaningful difference. With the role of inflammation in mind, the next topic explores another important connection: the connection between the nervous system and bladder sensitivity. Chapter 5: How an overactive nervous system can affect the bladder. This brings us to the 5th topic. This section focuses on the autonomic nervous system. Many older adults have heard this term before. The autonomic nervous system controls many of the body's automatic functions, processes that happen without conscious effort. It regulates heartbeat, breathing, digestion, body temperature, and even sweating. This system has 2 main branches. The first is the sympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for alertness and activity. It prepares the body to respond to stress or demands by increasing heart rate and maintaining a state of readiness. The second is the parasympathetic nervous system, which promotes rest, relaxation, and recovery. It helps with digestion, healing, and most importantly, healthy sleep. The bladder is also influenced by the autonomic nervous system. Under normal circumstances, the bladder gradually fills and sends signals to the brain when it reaches an appropriate volume. This allows the body to sleep comfortably through the night. But what happens when the nervous system becomes overly sensitive? When the sympathetic nervous system remains overactive, the body stays in a constant state of tension. As a result, the bladder may become more sensitive and send signals earlier than it should. One helpful way to understand this is to think of it like a smoke alarm that becomes overly sensitive. Instead of responding only to real danger, it starts reacting to the smallest trigger. In much the same way, an overly sensitive bladder may signal the brain to wake up, even when it is not yet full. Several factors may contribute to this type of nervous system imbalance. Chronic stress is one of them. Long periods of stress can keep the body in a heightened state of alertness and make it difficult to fully relax. Poor sleep can also create a cycle that is difficult to break. When sleep is disrupted, the body may not have enough time to recover, and the nervous system itself becomes more vulnerable to stress. Hydration status may also play a role. As covered earlier, dehydration may place additional stress on the body and affect overall balance. And maintaining adequate levels of important minerals and electrolytes is essential for healthy nerve function. Some older adults describe feeling their heart racing when lying down, even though nothing seems wrong. Others find that they wake easily from small noises, or that their mind keeps running when trying to fall asleep. Some feel tired, yet the body simply refuses to relax. When these patterns occur together, an overactive nervous system may be contributing to sleep difficulties and possibly to frequent nighttime urination as well. One educational example involves a gentleman in his 60s. Whenever he went to bed, he felt restless and anxious for no apparent reason. His heart would race, and even after falling asleep, he woke up every 2 or 3 hours. Once awake, it was difficult for him to fall back asleep again. He had spent his entire life working hard and taking care of his family. Even after retirement, he found it difficult to slow down. His mind was always occupied with responsibilities and worries. Cardiovascular testing showed no serious problems, but further evaluation suggested that his sympathetic nervous system remained unusually active. In other words, his body was having trouble switching into rest mode. Rather than focusing on medications, the conversation shifted to ways of creating a relaxing bedtime routine, slowing down before bed, limiting stimulation, and developing calming habits that would help signal the body that it was time to rest. One simple practice he adopted was sipping a warm beverage slowly in the evening. As part of his wind-down routine, 3 weeks later, he came back looking noticeably more relaxed. He smiled and said, "I don't feel that racing heartbeat when I lie down anymore. Some nights I only wake up once, and occasionally I sleep through the night. For the first time in a long time, I even remember having dreams again." His wife accompanied him to the appointment and shared that she had also been sleeping better because her husband was finally resting more peacefully. Stories like this remind us that sleep is about more than the bladder alone. The nervous system plays a powerful role in how deeply and peacefully we sleep. To summarize, when the autonomic nervous system becomes overly sensitive, the bladder may react to even small signals, leading to frequent awakenings during the night. Supporting relaxation and giving the body time to shift into rest mode may help promote healthier sleep and better nighttime comfort. Chapter 6. Lemon's Anti-Inflammatory and Circulation Benefits. This brings us to the 6th topic. This section explores the potential benefits of lemon. Earlier in this discussion, lemon was briefly mentioned as part of a warm water routine. Many people wonder why lemon specifically? Is it simply for flavor? Not at all. Lemon contains several nutrients that may support overall health and healthy circulation. First, lemons are a good source of vitamin C. Vitamin C is a well-known antioxidant that may help protect cells from oxidative stress and support the health of blood vessels. Lemons also contain citric acid, which has been studied for its role in maintaining normal metabolic processes and supporting urinary tract health. Researchers have long been interested in the relationship between antioxidants, inflammation, and healthy aging. Maintaining healthy blood vessels and good circulation becomes especially important as the body grows older. Lemons also contain potassium, an important mineral involved in fluid balance and normal muscle function. Potassium works together with sodium and other electrolytes to help maintain the body's natural balance. That's one reason why many people enjoy lemon water as part of a healthy hydration routine. Adding lemon to warm water not only enhances the flavor, but may also encourage people to stay better hydrated throughout the day. And for some people, that simple habit may make a meaningful difference. Lemon peel contains natural aromatic compounds as well. Many people find the fresh citrus scent relaxing and refreshing. In fact, pleasant aromas have long been used in relaxation practices and may help create a calming bedtime environment. Some older adults notice that their hands and feet often feel cold or experience leg cramps during the night. Others have been awakened by tightness or discomfort in their calves, or find that their circulation doesn't feel quite as good as it once did. These patterns can have many possible causes, including age-related changes, hydration status, and mineral balance. And that's why paying attention to healthy daily habits can be so important. One educational example involves a woman in her 60s. She frequently experienced painful leg cramps during the night. Her calf muscles would suddenly tighten while she was sleeping, waking her up with intense discomfort. Once awake, she would often need to get up and use the bathroom as well. As a result, her sleep was interrupted several times every night. She also mentioned that her hands and feet were consistently cold. During the winter months, she often wore 2 pairs of socks to bed and still struggled to stay warm. Several lifestyle measures were discussed to support healthy Circulation and hydration. As part of her evening routine, she began enjoying a cup of warm water with fresh lemon about an hour before bedtime. The goal was not to create a miracle cure, but simply to promote relaxation, hydration, and a more comfortable bedtime routine. About a week later, she shared some encouraging news. She said, "My legs aren't cramping nearly as much, and my hands and feet feel warmer. I'm only waking up once or twice during the night now." 2 weeks later, she reported that some nights she only woke up once and occasionally, she slept through the night. She was delighted to discover that she no longer needed to wear 2 pairs of socks to bed. Sometimes, small habits practiced consistently may make a meaningful difference in quality of life. As this section has covered, lemons contain vitamin C, potassium, and natural plant compounds that may support healthy circulation and overall wellness. Combined with good hydration and healthy daily routines, they may become part of a balanced approach to supporting better sleep and healthy aging. Chapter 7. Practical steps: how to make warm lemon water with a pinch of salt. This brings us to the 7th topic, one that many people find particularly practical. This section covers exactly how to prepare and enjoy this simple drink. There are only 3 things to keep in mind. The 3 ingredients are simple warm water, a small pinch of salt, and a slice of lemon. Nothing complicated and nothing expensive. Most people already have everything they need right at home. Starting with timing. Many health professionals suggest drinking it about 1 hour before bedtime. Why 1 hour? Because the body needs time to absorb the water and minerals and distribute them throughout the bloodstream. This process usually takes between 30 minutes and 1 hour. So drinking it about an hour before sleep may give the body enough time to adjust. Drinking it right before lying down is not ideal. The body may not have enough time to regulate the fluid, and in some people, this may actually stimulate the bladder and become counterproductive. About 1 hour before bedtime is the general guideline. Next, the temperature. The water should be warm, not cold, and not extremely hot. Cold water may cause blood vessels to constrict, which can interfere with circulation and relaxation. Very hot water can irritate the lining of the stomach and may stimulate the body's stress response. A comfortable, pleasantly warm temperature is best. One helpful way to think about this is to imagine soaking hands in warm water on a cold winter day. That gentle warmth is the goal. For many people, warm water creates a sense of relaxation and helps the body prepare for rest. Now for the amount of salt. Many people wonder about this part. Will this raise my blood pressure? Isn't salt bad for the heart? The key is moderation. The amount is very small, just a tiny pinch between the thumb and index finger. Less than half a teaspoon. In fact, less than 1 gram. The drink should barely taste salty. If it tastes noticeably salty, the amount may be too much. For most people, such a small amount is unlikely to affect blood pressure. Maintaining adequate hydration and electrolyte balance may actually help the body function more efficiently. Next comes the lemon. 1 thin slice, about 1/8 of an inch thick, is enough. As it sits in the warm water, natural oils from the peel are released, giving off a gentle citrus aroma. Many people find this scent relaxing and pleasant. If fresh lemon isn't available, about half a teaspoon of lemon juice can be used instead. Bottled lemon juice is acceptable, but fresh lemon is preferred whenever possible, because the peel also contains beneficial compounds. Finally, how to drink it. There's no need to drink it quickly. Sipping it slowly over 5 to 10 minutes allows the body to absorb the fluid comfortably without overwhelming the stomach. Finding a quiet place and sitting comfortably can also help. Turning off the television and setting aside the phone for a few minutes may make the experience more restful. This can be a peaceful way to end the day. To summarize, the 3 simple steps are drinking it about 1 hour before bedtime, preparing 1 cup of warm water with a small pinch of salt, and adding a slice of lemon to sip slowly. Simple, affordable, and easy to do. No special equipment is needed. This simple routine can be started as early as tonight, for those who would like to maintain independence and enjoy more meaningful moments with family. Small daily habits may make a meaningful difference over time. 3 things are worth remembering: 1 hour before bed, 1 cup of warm water, and a pinch of salt with a slice of lemon. Chapter 8. 3 Real-Life Stories: How Simple Changes Made a Difference. This brings us to the 8th and final topic. This section shares several examples from people who tried these simple habits and noticed meaningful changes over time. The first example involves Mr. Han, a gentleman in his 70s. He often woke up feeling exhausted. His eyes felt irritated, and he said he never seemed to get a truly restful night's sleep. Almost every night, he woke up 4 times around 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, and again at 5 in the morning. Mr. Han had 2 grandchildren. He loved spending time with them, but because he was always tired, he often found himself sitting on a bench while they played. He shared that it was difficult to hear his grandchildren ask, "Grandpa, why don't you come play with us?" He was encouraged to try the warm lemon water with a small pinch of salt. At first, he was skeptical. He asked, "Won't drinking water make me wake up even more often?" As covered earlier in this video, avoiding water can sometimes make the problem worse. He decided to give it a try. 1 week later, he returned with a completely different expression on his face. He said, "I wake up feeling clear-headed now. My eyes don't feel irritated anymore. It's been a long time since I felt refreshed in the morning." During the first week, his nighttime bathroom trips decreased from 4 times to 3. Even that small improvement meant a lot to him. By the second week, he was waking up only twice. By the third week, it had decreased to once or twice, and on some nights, he slept through until morning. He mentioned it was the first time in nearly 10 years that he had experienced that. Not long after, he shared this story. "I finally ran around at the park with my grandkids again. I used to sit on the bench because I was too tired. Now I can actually play with them." He said one of his grandchildren even asked, "Grandpa, how come you have so much energy today?" His wife also noticed the difference. Because her husband was sleeping better, she was sleeping better too. For years, she had been waking up whenever he got out of bed. Now, both of them were enjoying more restful nights. The second example involves Mrs. Choi, a woman in her 50s. She used to wake up 2 or 3 times every night. The hardest part wasn't just waking up, it was falling back asleep. Sometimes she would spend 1 or 2 hours staring at the ceiling before finally drifting off again. As a result, she felt exhausted throughout the day. She was also going through menopause, which made sleep even more difficult. She was encouraged to follow the same simple routine. She followed it consistently. After just a few days, she noticed that her hands and feet became warm much more quickly when she went to bed. Previously, she had worn socks to sleep because her feet always felt cold. Now, she found herself feeling comfortable without them. Within a week, she was waking only once during the night. Even when she did wake up, she found it much easier to fall asleep again. 2 weeks later, she began having nights when she slept all the way through until morning. She shared, "I wake up feeling refreshed. I have more energy during the day. And even my husband says I seem different these days." Stories like these are not uncommon. Their medical tests showed no major abnormalities, yet they were still waking up frequently at night. Many had developed habits such as restricting water or following extremely low sodium diets. And after making a few simple adjustments, many noticed improvements within several weeks. Of course, results vary from person to person. No single approach works for everyone. But for many people, these simple habits are certainly worth discussing and trying. There are also a few important considerations to keep in mind for those managing advanced kidney concerns, receiving dialysis, or following specific fluid restrictions. Speaking with a healthcare provider before making any changes is strongly encouraged. The same applies to those managing ongoing kidney concerns or other health conditions that require special dietary considerations. However, for many older adults whose tests appear normal, but who continue to wake frequently during the night, these simple habits may offer a practical and accessible approach worth considering. Final thoughts and important reminders start tonight. As this video comes to a close, here is a quick review of the key points. Waking up frequently during the night is not always caused by a bladder problem. In many cases, it may be related to an imbalance of fluids and electrolytes. Avoiding water completely can sometimes have the opposite effect. When the body becomes dehydrated, the blood becomes more concentrated, which may actually lead to more nighttime awakenings. Eating an extremely low sodium diet may allow fluid to shift outside the blood vessels, contributing to swelling and nighttime urination. Low-grade chronic inflammation can affect the tiny blood vessels and make the nerves more sensitive. When the autonomic nervous system becomes overly sensitive, even small signals from the bladder may contribute to nighttime awakenings. Lemons contain vitamin C and natural compounds that may support circulation and help maintain electrolyte balance. And 3 simple steps are worth keeping in mind 1 hour before bedtime. 1 cup of warm water and a small pinch of salt with 1 slice of lemon. That's all. Simple habits, practiced consistently, can often make a meaningful difference. Many people have noticed positive changes within just a few weeks. And the best part is that this approach doesn't require expensive products or complicated routines. Most people already have everything they need right in their own kitchens. This simple routine can be started as early as tonight. The hope is that older adults who try these habits will enjoy deeper sleep, wake up feeling more refreshed, and continue sharing meaningful years with family. After spending so much of life taking care of others, perhaps this is a good time to focus on personal health as well. And regardless of age, it is never too late to begin. If this video was helpful, consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel. Your support helps this channel continue sharing practical and trustworthy health information with more people. Sharing this video with family members or friends who may be experiencing similar challenges is always welcome. For those who have tried any of these ideas, sharing experiences or questions in the comments below is always welcome. Your story may encourage someone else who is going through the same challenge. The next video explores 5 common morning habits that many people follow without realizing they may be affecting overall health. Subscribing and turning on notifications is a good way to stay updated. Thank you for watching. Wishing everyone peaceful nights, refreshing mornings, and many healthy years ahead.